Okay, here's a thought. What if the most powerful man on earth, I mean, an emperor, leading Rome through some serious chaos, what if he wrote this personal journal, not for anyone else, not for fame, but just for himself, to figure out how to live a good life? What kind of wisdom would you even find in something like that?
It's a fascinating premise, isn't it?
It really is. Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, and it's such a unique piece of writing. It's not, some polished philosophical argument he planned to publish.
No, not at all.
It's more like, well, his private thoughts, his self-reminders, almost like diary entries. He wrote them down, mostly in Greek, actually, between around 170 and 180 CE.
And often while he was literally on military campaigns, right? During the last decade of his life.
Exactly. Often in really tough conditions, that context is key.
It absolutely is. That rawness, that intimacy is what makes it so powerful, I think. So for you listening, you've probably heard of Marcus Aurelius, maybe Stoicism. Our mission today isn't just to rehash the basics.
Right. We want to really dig into the practical stuff, the actionable insights.
Yeah, what can you actually take from this ancient text? How did he try to apply these ideas under immense pressure? And, crucially, why does it still speak to us so strongly today?
It's surprisingly relevant.
It really is. I've always been drawn to Meditations, the idea of this philosopher king. I'm excited to unpack its, well, surprising practicality. So, where do we start? What's the absolute core of his thinking?
Well, it really boils down to one foundational Stoic idea.
Okay.
The thing he comes back to again and again. It's the idea that we can't control what happens to us. External events are just outside our sphere. But what we can control, absolutely, is our response, our reaction to those events.
Okay, simple to say.
Simple to say, incredibly hard to do consistently.
Right. I mean, Marcus Aurelius wasn't just sitting in a quiet room thinking about this. He was dealing with plagues, wars, maybe betrayal, the weight of an empire. How did he actually practice controlling his reactions?
Well, that's what the meditations are, in a way.
Yeah.
They're him practicing, reminding himself. That famous line, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That wasn't just a nice quote for him.
It was a command to himself.
Exactly. A daily reminder. Like, when you're stuck in terrible traffic, you can't magic the cars away.
Definitely not.
But you can choose not to sit there boiling with rage. You can choose to, listen to something useful or just accept the situation calmly. It's an internal shift.
That makes sense. It's an active choice, not just resignation.
Precisely. It's about cultivating that inner citadel, that place of calm, no matter what's swirling outside.
Yeah.
And closely related to this, something else that really stands out in Meditations is how often he talks about death, about mortality.
Yeah, that can seem a bit maybe gloomy, especially for an emperor with so much on his plate. Why focus on death?
That's a really good point, because for Marcus, it wasn't about being morbid or despairing. Quite the opposite, actually.
How so?
Thinking about the shortness of life, the inevitability of death, it was fuel for him. It was a motivator to live right now with purpose and virtue.
Okay. So it's not, oh no, I'm going to die, but life is short, so I need to make this moment count.
Exactly that. He has that line, something like, do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while is in your power, be good.
Wow.
It's a call to urgency. Focus on what matters now. Don't get bogged down in trivial stuff because time is limited. Be good now.
That really cuts through a lot of modern anxiety about, wasting time or not being productive enough. It reframes it as focusing on virtue, on being good while you have the chance.
It does. And that connects directly to another huge theme for him.
Yeah.
Duty. Responsibility.
Especially given his role.
Emperor.
Immense responsibility. And you see him grappling with it constantly in the Meditations. His duty to the Roman people, to the gods, to the common good. It wasn't about personal gain or glory for him. It was about service.
He seemed to really stress action over just, talking about being good. Absolutely. That famous quote sums it up perfectly. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one.
Just be one. Powerful.
It's a direct challenge, isn't it? For leaders, yes, but really for anyone. Stop debating endlessly and just do the right thing. Act virtuously.
And underlying all of this controlling reactions, facing mortality, doing your duty, there's this constant thread of self-discipline, right? Humility, even.
Yes, that's what's so striking. Here's arguably the most powerful man in the known world at the time.
Right. Absolute power, effectively.
And his private journal is full of notes to himself about being humble, restraining his impulses, examining his own flaws, seeking inner peace over, say, winning battles or building monuments.
How radical must that have been then? I mean, even now, in our world obsessed with external validation, with likes and followers and promotions.
It's still pretty radical, prioritizing inner work, self-mastery over outward success, especially when you have all the outward success anyone could imagine. It's profound.
It really is. And the way he wrote it down, the style of the book itself, is also quite unique, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's not a narrative. It's not a step-by-step guide in the modern sense.
No, it's more like fragments, short bursts of thought.
Exactly. Aphorisms, short paragraphs, reflections. Sometimes very direct, sometimes more meditative. The tone is usually calm, disciplined, very sincere. You feel like you're listening in on his private thoughts.
And he repeats things, doesn't he? Certain ideas come up again and again.
He does. And that seems intentional. It's not like he forgot he wrote it before. It feels like he's drilling these principles into his own head.
Like affirmations, almost.
Yeah.
Or reinforcing mental pathways.
Yeah, like a kind of self-coaching.
Hmm.
He's working to internalize these truths. And that repetition, that format, it makes it less like a book you just read through once.
More like something you dip into. A tool for reflection.
Exactly. A practical companion for daily life. You can open it anywhere and find something to chew on.
Which I guess leads us to why it still connects so strongly today. People know the basic Stoic idea, focus on what you control. But Marcus, he shows you how someone tried to live that under extreme duress.
Right. It's not just theory. It's applied philosophy under pressure. Yeah. And that's why it offers such practical wisdom for us now. We might not be Roman emperors.
Hopefully not.
But we all face stress, uncertainty, difficult people, anxieties. Meditations gives you tools, real mental techniques to build resilience, find focus, cultivate gratitude, manage your emotions. These are timeless skills.
They really are, especially now with the constant, noise and distraction of modern life. Finding that inner clarity he talks about.
It's crucial. And meditations can be a guide to that kind of inner stillness, helping you detach from the small stuff, the petty worries, and gain perspective. So the question becomes, how do we actually use this ancient wisdom in our crazy busy lives today?
Yeah, how do we make it practical?
Well, the book itself offers tangible benefits for anyone feeling overwhelmed, anxious, maybe burnt out. It cuts through the noise. It gets you focused on what actually helps build that mental clarity and strength.
And some of the short lines, those nuggets of wisdom, they just lodge themselves in your brain.
They really do.
Like, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Simple, but profound. Your happiness isn't out there, it's in here.
Exactly. It shifts the focus inward. Or that morning reflection. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love.
Just starting the day with that gratitude, instead of dreading the inbox, it changes things.
It really can. And they're ethical guides, too. Like, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury.
Oof. Yeah. Don't sink to their level. That's hard, but powerful.
Very. And maybe the most straightforward guide for just daily integrity. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it.
Clear, simple, not always easy, but clear. These little lines carry so much weight.
They do. They stick with you.
So wrapping this up then, Meditations really feels like more than just a book. People call it a mirror, reflecting your own thoughts back at you, or a mentor, a moral compass.
All of those seem fitting, and it's definitely not a one-and-done read.
No, you need to live with it, right? Return to it. It's about mastering that inner world, which feels almost countercultural today when everything seems focused on the external.
It really does. Which kind of brings us to a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to consider.
Okay.
Just think, what's one small thing, one single action inspired by Marcus Aurelius that you could try this week? Just one small way to practice exercising a little more control over your mind instead of getting swept away by whatever happens externally.